Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to look at a phrase, one of the most, and other similar phrases. So the format is one of the words one of the plus the highest comparative form of an adjective. So for example, one of the best, one of the longest, one of the most enjoyable, and then a plural noun. Notice that even though we're not talking about only one, the noun after the comparative must be plural. And that's because every time you mean one out of a group, and the group is always plural. You can't have a group of only one. So think of an adjective, for example, good. Then make the comparatives for that adjective, good, better, best. Now take the highest comparative, best, and put one of the in front and a noun after it. So one of the best. Now you can make a sentence. That was one of the best comparative movies, noun, I've ever watched. Or that was one of the best comparative curries, noun, I've ever eaten. Let's try another adjective. For example, beautiful. So beautiful, we have beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. So that is one of the most beautiful comparative flowers, noun, I've ever seen. Or that was one of the most beautiful comparative songs, noun, I've ever heard. So now up to you. So on the left in the red box, we have some adjectives: sad, confusing, exciting, big, wonderful. So you have to make 5 sentences using one of those adjectives and one of the nouns on the box on the right. So books, people, days, places, lessons. So for example, it was one of the most confusing days. So we're using confusing from the left, days from the right, I've ever had. That was one of the biggest books. So we're using big from the left and books from the right, I've ever seen. GMK is one of the most exciting. So we're using exciting from the left, places from the right in the world. People don't say it often, but you can use other numbers, not only one. So you could say the twins were 2 of the best comparative students, noun, in the class. Or they were 2 of the worst comparative singers, noun, I've ever listened to. And it doesn't even have to be a number. You can use some or sample. For example, that was some of the best acting I've ever seen. Or in the first week of term, the teacher showed us a sample of the best comparative work, noun, done by last year's students. Can you use the second comparative, the one you use when you're comparing only 2 things? Technically, the answer is yes. If someone watching the football says that was one of his better, which is second comparative goals, noun, it's correct English. But not many people do this, and I don't think it's important for you to learn about that right now. Let's keep it simple. So your turn. Make a sentence using one of the with the noun cloud and the adjective black. For example, that is one of the blackest clouds I've ever seen. Next one, make a sentence using one of the with the noun elephant and the adjective white. And the example is one of the whitest elephants ever was found in Thailand in 1898. Next one, fill the blanks. One word for each blanks. Something are one of the something, something, something in the jungle. So let's see what's my suggested answer. Snakes for the first blank. Snakes are one of the most dangerous creatures in the jungle. So the second gap is always going to be most, because you have three gaps, one of the gap in the jungle. Because it's three gaps, you know the comparative is going to be most something, like most wonderful or most beautiful. It's not going to be best, because if it was best, you would have just best and then a noun, and there would only be two gaps. So because it's three, you know it's going to be a most word. So you could say, snacks are one of the most enjoyable foods in the jungle. Not really true. Okay, let's go to the next one. One word for each blank again. Pupu Jamutu is one of the something something in our village. And the answer, or suggested answer, Pupu Jamutu is one of the oldest people in our village. Name one of the blank blank in Kothole. My example, name one of the highest mountains in Kothole. Okay, now correct or not correct. You can only use the one of the plus top comparative plus noun idea with one syllable adjectives, where the top comparative is one word and doesn't use most. Correct or not correct? And the answer is not correct. You can use this idea with all adjectives. So that's whether you make the top comparative with one word like best, or whether you make it with two words like most wonderful. Bayuji is one of the most famousest people in Korean history. And that one, the answer is not correct. It should be So Bayuji is one of the most famous people in Korean history. If you use most, you don't put est on the end of the adjective. So Bayuji is one of the most best known people in Korean history. Correct or not correct? And the answer, not correct. It should be So Bayuji is one of the best known people in Korean history. Bagan is one of the most visited places in Myanmar. And the answer for that one, correct or not correct, is correct. The war between Karen people and the Burmese government is one of the most long, unfinished wars in the world. Correct or not correct? And the answer, not correct. It should be the longest unfinished wars. Long is one syllable, so you just make the highest comparative by putting est on the end, not by using most. And this is the end, my friend. See you again next time.